I woke up in my brother's body on the morning of Mom's funeral, staring at a stranger's reflection in the bathroom mirror of our old family home in Buckhead, Atlanta, the kind of upscale neighborhood where secrets fester, like kudzu vines choking the azaleas. My name is Harmony, but that face grinning back at me? It belonged to Derek, the golden boy who'd always played the victim while I carried the weight of our family sins. And as the first shovelful of Georgia red clay hit Mom's coffin outside, I realized the body swap wasn't some cosmic joke. It was the key to unraveling the lie that had stolen my life, her fortune, and every last shred of justice I deserved. That's when I decided I'd wear his skin like a suit of armor, infiltrate his world of boardrooms and bourbon-soaked betrayals, and burn it all down from the inside, starting with forging the signature on her will that he'd think made him untouchable. But the real hook? Mom didn't just leave him everything. She confessed in a hidden letter that I'd taken the fall for his crimes 20 years ago, crimes that should have landed him in Fulton County lockup instead of Yale. And now, trapped in this swapped shell, I'd make sure he felt every ounce of the guilt I'd buried for him before I slipped back into my own body and watched him swing. The rain had turned the cemetery into a slick, mournful mess by the time the service wrapped up. Mourners in black umbrellas huddled like crows around the grave, whispering about Mom's sudden heart attack at 62, too young, too alone, too damn convenient for the vultures circling her estate. I stood there in Derek's 6'2" frame, his tailored Brooks Brothers suit hanging a bit loose because, let's face it, I'd never been one for the gym rat lifestyle he flaunted on Instagram. My hands, his hands, clenched the damp program, the embossed gold letters blurring. Eleanor Hayes, beloved mother, 1963 to 2025. Beloved? That word stuck in my throat like a fishbone. Mom had loved us both, in her fractured way, but Derek had always been the sun around which she orbited. The good grades, the football scholarships, the promising future in real estate development.
Me?
Harmony Hayes, the quiet one with the art degree from SCAD and a string of dead-end gallery jobs in Midtown. The fixer. The one who cleaned up his messes without a whisper of credit. But that morning, waking up in his body had shattered everything. I'd gone to bed in my cramped one-bedroom off Peachtree Street, exhausted from planning the funeral logistics Mom would have insisted on handling herself if she'd had the strength. A migraine had throbbed behind my eyes all night, probably from the stress of dodging Derek's calls. He'd flown in from New York the day before, all apologies and crocodile tears, promising to step up for once. I'd popped a couple of her old Ambien from the medicine cabinet, chased with cheap Cabernet, and crashed hard. Next thing I knew, sunlight stabbed through unfamiliar blinds, and I was bolting upright in a king-sized bed that smelled of cedar cologne and regret. The room was Derek's guest suite at the house, Mom's house, now his by default, according to the lawyer's frantic voicemail I'd listened to on his iPhone. Mr. Hayes, urgent. The will reading is tomorrow. Your mother's assets.
It's all to you.
But there's a codicil mentioning your sister. We need to discuss. Mr. Hayes. Not Harmony.
Me.
In his body. Panic clawed up his chest as I stumbled to the ensuite bathroom, flipping on the light. The mirror didn't lie. Broad jaw, blue eyes that always looked like they were appraising you for resale value, that perpetual 5 o'clock shadow he groomed like it was a religion. I touched my face, his face, and felt the stubble rasp against calloused palms that had never sketched a charcoal portrait in their life. What the fuck? The voice boomed out, deeper, smoother, laced with that Ivy League drawl he'd picked up to impress the old money crowd. I retched into the sink, but nothing came up except bile and the dawning horror that this wasn't a dream. No, this was something straight out of those late-night sci-fi podcasts I binged while nursing hangovers, body swaps, identity theft on a metaphysical level.
But how? Why now? And why him?
The house phone rang downstairs, jolting me back. It was the funeral home confirming the hearse. I answered in Derek's voice, mumbling affirmatives, my mind racing. If I was in his body, where the hell was he? In mine? Did he wake up this morning screaming at the sight of my 5'6" frame, my curves he used to leer at during family Thanksgivings, thinking it was some twisted prank? I didn't have time to find out. The service awaited, and so did the charade. Slipping into his clothes felt like betrayal, zipping up his slacks over hips that didn't sway the way mine did, buttoning a shirt that strained against shoulders built for tackling linebackers, not dodging catcalls on the MARTA. I practiced his walk in the hallway mirror, loose-hipped, confident, the kind of swagger that said I own this room. It made my stomach turn. Or his stomach. Whatever. By the time I pulled up to Cresslawn Memorial in his gleaming black Escalade, parked in Mom's driveway like a predator staking claim, the lot was filling with the who's who of Atlanta's black sheep elite. Cousins from Savannah, Mom's bridge club ladies in pearls and regret, a smattering of Derek's Wall Street buddies flown in on private jets. And there, under a massive oak dripping Spanish moss, stood me. Or rather, my body, looking dazed and small in a black, sheath dress that hugged curves I suddenly missed with a ferocity that bordered on grief. Derek and Harmony blinked up at me, him, with wide green eyes, mascara already streaking from the rain.
Derek?
His voice cracked, high and melodic, the Georgia lilt I'd spent years softening for job interviews. He reached out, grabbing his arm with fingers that trembled. What the hell is happening? I woke up. Like this. In your apartment. Your phone's blowing up with calls from the lawyer. They think I'm you. I leaned in close, using Derek's height to loom, my voice dropping to a gravelly whisper only we could hear amid the preacher's drone about eternal rest. Shut up and play along, sis. Mom's watching from up there, and she always said family sticks together.
Lies.
Mom had said a lot of things, but sticking together? That was the fairy tale she told us kids after Dad bailed for a mistress in Boca Raton when I was 8. The truth was, we'd been splintering since. He swallowed hard, nodding jerkily. The swap had hit him like a freight train too, but where I saw opportunity, he saw apocalypse. As the casket lowered, I felt a dark thrill uncoil in my gut. This wasn't just some glitch in the Matrix, it was leverage. Pure, unadulterated power. Derek had spent our lives coasting on charm and Mom's blinders, dodging consequences like they were bad investments. I'd been the scapegoat, the one who confessed to shoplifting that Rolex from Lenox Square when we were teens, even though it was his sticky fingers that swiped it to impress a cheerleader. I'd taken the juvenile record, the lectures, the disappointment that hung over me like smog during every family dinner. And that was just the appetizer. Deeper cuts waited. The car accident he caused senior year, drunk on Jack Daniels after homecoming, wrapping Mom's Volvo around a pole on I-85. I'd claimed I was driving, lied to the cops about borrowing the keys, spent a summer on probation while he partied at UGA. Mom never questioned it. Derek was her miracle boy, the one who'd pulled through leukemia at 10, bald-headed and brave in those hospital photos she framed like saints.
Me?
The survivor, who didn't need saving. Now, in his skin, I could rewrite the script. The will reading was set for tomorrow at the family attorney's office in Midtown, a sleek glass tower overlooking the Fox Theater. Mom's estate wasn't peanuts. The Buckhead bungalow appraised at $2.2 million, stocks in Coca-Cola and Delta, a trust fund fat enough to fund a small country's elections. All earmarked for Derek, per the whispers I'd overheard from the lawyer on Derek's phone. But there was that codicil. A secret clause, maybe? Something to level the playing field? As we drove back to the house, me behind the wheel of the Escalade, him huddled in the passenger seat like a scolded puppy, I probed gently. You read the will yet? On your phone? He shook his head, wiping at his eyes with the heel of my hand.
No.
Battery died. Harmony, please. Switch us back. This is insane. What if it's permanent? I smirked, Derek's lips curling in that way that always made people trust him. Insane? Brother dear, you have no idea. Mom left you everything because she thought you needed it more. The sickly one, right?
But me?
I was the strong one. The one who covered your ass every time you fucked up.
And now?
I'm going to show you what real strength looks like. The house loomed at the end of the cul-de-sac, its white columns stark against the storm clouds rolling in from Stone Mountain. Inside, the air hung heavy with potpourri and memories, Mom's watercolor landscapes on the walls, her collection of Lalique crystal glinting in the foyer. We shed our wet coats, and I poured a scotch from the decanter Dad left behind, neat, the way Derek liked it. He sipped tentatively, wincing at the burn in my throat. "Tell me how it happened," he pleaded, curling up on the leather sectional like a kid confessing to breaking a vase. "Last night, I was at that bar in Soho, closing a deal with investors for the Brooklyn high-rise. Some guy bought me a drink, tall, weird accent, talked about old debts and balancing scales. I blacked out after. Woke up. You.
Old debts.
The phrase slithered through me like ice water. Mom's stories flickered in my mind. Her brief stint in the 80s working for a shady importer in Savannah, smuggling knockoff Chanel through the ports. She'd quit when she met Dad, but whispers followed. Debts unpaid, favors owed. Had some voodoo practitioner or black market mystic finally called collect.
I didn't tell him that.
Instead, I leaned back, crossing his long legs, and laid out the ground rules. We act normal until the reading. You be me, quiet, grieving harmony. I'll be you, the grieving air.
Noise leaps. And after?
We figure out the swap. But if you screw me over. I trailed off, letting Derek's charm mask the venom. He nodded, eyes darting to the mantel where Mom's portrait smiled down, oblivious. That night, as thunder rattled the windows, I lay in his bed, staring at the ceiling fan whirring like a conspirator's whisper. Sleep evaded me. Instead, plans bloomed. The will wasn't ironclad. Mom had taught me that much, poring over legal thrillers by candlelight during blackouts. Contests, amendments, fraud claims. And with me in his body, I had access, his emails, his contacts, his goddamn fingerprints. By dawn, as he shuffled downstairs in my pajamas, I was already on his laptop, digging. The email from the lawyer confirmed it. Per Mrs. Hayes' instructions, the bulk of the estate, property, investments, liquid assets totaling approximately $4.8 million, passes to Derek Hayes outright. Harmony receives a nominal bequest of $10,000 and personal effects. Nominal. The word burned. But buried in the attachments? A scanned letter, handwritten, dated a week before her death. To my darlings, if you're reading this, I've gone too soon. Derek, my boy, you've always been the fragile one. Take the security I've built. Harmony, forgive me for the burdens I've heaped. You were always the rock. There's more, a safety deposit box at SunTrust, key in the garden gnome. Truths there that could change everything. Love, Mom. Truths. The garden gnome, tacky, concrete, hidden under the hydrangeas. I slipped out while he showered, key in hand, heart pounding. The box held documents, yellowed police reports from 2005, my juvenile confession to the Rolex theft, Derek's fingerprints smudged on the margins. A note. He was just a boy. Protect him, Harmony. As I couldn't protect you from the rest. The rest? Flipping further. Hospital records from my accident at 16, the one where I fell down the stairs at a party, blamed on too much Boone's Farm. But the talk screen? Rohypnol traces. Derek's fraternity brothers, his initiation gone wrong. Mom had hushed it, paid off the dean, let me take the blame as the wild girl. Rage boiled, hot and American as sweet tea spiked with bourbon. This wasn't inheritance, it was restitution owed. And with his body, I'd collect with interest. The reading that afternoon was a farce. Seated in the attorney's oak-paneled office, surrounded by the scent of cigar ash and old money, Derek, sat ramrod straight, nodding solemnly as the terms were read. He, Harmony, fidgeted beside me, twisting a tissue, playing the devastated sister to perfection. The lawyer, a silver-haired shark named Harlan with a Harvard drawl, slid the documents across. Signatures needed, transfers initiated. But as pen scratched, I noticed the codicil. Wait, I said in Derek's voice, feigning shock. Mom mentioned a box. Secrets. Harlan, what's this about? He blanched, adjusting his bow tie.
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes amended last month.
Contingent on
family reconciliation. If disputes arise, the estate splits 50-50, with oversight from a neutral trustee. Derek and me shot me a glare that could curdle milk. Reconciliation? After what I'd uncovered?
No.
This was my opening. Then let's reconcile. I purred, signing with a flourish that sealed his fate. But inside, the plan solidified. Contest the will on grounds of undue influence. Claim Mom was coerced by him, the devoted son who'd isolated her in her final months, whispering poison while I worked doubles at the coffee shop to cover her meds. That night, back at the house, he cornered me in the kitchen, my voice shrill from his lips. "What are you doing?" "That's my money. Mom wanted me to have it." I poured another scotch, swirling it like the storm in my soul. "Your money? Build on my back, Derek." The thefts, the crash, the roofie, I confessed. I did the time.
And now?
In your body, I'll prove it. DNA tests, witness statements. You'll be the fraud, not me. His face, my face, twisted in fury. "You bitch. You think you can pull this off? I'll tell everyone." The swap. "Go ahead," I shot back, stepping close enough to smell my own lavender shampoo on him. Who'll believe the hysterical sister, ranting about body swaps? You'll look crazier than that QAnon uncle at Thanksgiving. And by then, the lawyers will have frozen everything. Your investors? They'll bolt when the scandals hit the AJC. He deflated, slumping against the granite island. For the first time, I saw fear in those green eyes, real, bone deep. Good. Let it sink in. This was just the appetizer. The main course? Exposing the deepest betrayal. Mom's affair, the one that produced Derek, not Dad. Paternity tests in the box proved it, some dockside hustler from her smuggling days. I'd borne the illegitimacy stigma in whispers, the miracle label twisted into my curse. As he slunk upstairs, I texted his Wall Street contact from his phone. Delay the Brooklyn close. Personal matters. Delay, unravel, destroy. The swap had given me his power. Now I'd wield it like a scalpel. But as midnight tolled, a knock echoed from the foyer. The tall man from his story, accent thick as Savannah fog, eyes gleaming with unnatural light. "Time to balance, Miss Hayes," he murmured, slipping a vial into my hand. "One dose, and you're you again. But the scales. They demand payment." Payment.
The debts.
My hand closed around the glass. Revenge or restoration? The choice hung, heavy as the humid air. The vial sat on the nightstand like a serpent coiled in crystal, its contents swirling iridescent under the lamp's glow, promising normalcy, mocking the chaos I'd embraced. I didn't sleep. Instead, I paced Derek's room in sock feet, the plush carpet muffling steps that felt too heavy, too male. Outside, Atlanta's skyline twinkled through the French doors, a constellation of glass towers built on deals like the ones he'd botched. By 3 a.m., I drafted emails from his account to Harlan, contesting the will on mental incapacity grounds, citing Mom's deteriorating health under his care. To his assistant in New York, indefinite leave. Handle fallout. To the AJC tip line, anonymous leaks about inheritance disputes in high-profile family. It was surgical, this sabotage. American as apple pie laced with arsenic, methodical, media-savvy, designed to bleed him dry before the first courtroom gavel fell. Derek had always thrived on flash. The Rolexes, the Porsches leased on Mom's dime, the women paraded like trophies at Fox Brothers barbecue fundraisers.
Me?
I'd learned patience in the shadows, sketching portraits of strangers at Piedmont Park, capturing the cracks in their facades no one else saw. Now, those skills translated to forgery, subtle alterations to the will's metadata, timestamps fudged to suggest coercion. Dawn broke sticky and unforgiving, the kind of heat that makes the city shimmer like a fever dream. He, Harmony, shuffled down pale and puffy-eyed, brewing Folgers in the Keurig like it was a lifeline. "You look like hell," I said, sliding into a bar stool, Derek's frame dwarfing the island. "Speak for yourself," he snapped, my voice cracking on the edges. "I had to call in sick to your gallery job. Said me had food poisoning. And your friends? They're texting about some art crawl tonight. What do I say?" I shrugged, sipping black coffee that tasted bitter on his tongue. Tell Em you're grieving. Keep it vague. And Derek, if you bail, the swap guy visits you next time.
Not me.
His eyes widened, my eyes, framed by lashes I'd cursed for tangling in mascara. Who is he? Some witch doctor from Mom's past. Worse, I lied, not ready to unpack the vial's temptation. A collector of debts. Mom's smuggling gig? It wasn't just purses. Artifacts, maybe. Cursed shit from the Lowcountry. Point is, we're in this till I say out. The day blurred into strategy sessions disguised as grief counseling. I drove us to the varsity for lunch. Hot dogs all the way, grease dripping like tears, watching him fumble with my fork and use to the dainty grip. Tourists snapped pics of the neon sign, oblivious to the farce. Brother and sister's shell, plotting patricide on the family tree. Over chili cheese fries, I schooled him on my life. The loft apartment in Castleberry Hill, the Etsy shop selling abstract oils of Atlanta's underbelly, the on-again ex, Jamal, who texted flirty memes about our last hike at Chattahoochee Bend.
You're
Complicated, he muttered, poking at slaw. Guys hit on you all the time? Jealous. I arched Derek's brow. Try navigating boardrooms where they assume you're the arm candy, not the closer. He flushed, my cheeks pinking, and changed the subject. The will contest. It'll drag. Mom wouldn't want. Mom wanted a son who didn't roofie his sister. I cut in, voice low. The varsity buzzed around us. Students in Georgia Tech hoodies, cops on break. The eternal chant of Wally have. But in that booth, it was just us. Mirrors of malice. Or steal her college fund for coke binges in the Hamptons. Yeah, I found the bank statements in the box. $50,000, poof. Gone by sophomore year. His fork clattered. That was a loan. I paid it back with interest after Yale. Liar. I'd cross-checked last night. Repayments sporadic, half-assed, Mom dipping into retirement to cover shortfalls. You gambled it away at the Bellagio, Derek. Blackjack tables, hookers on the side. She cried for weeks, but told me it was tuition. Silence stretched, broken only by the sizzle of onions on the grill. Finally, he whispered, I'm sorry. For all of it. The swap. It's karma, isn't it? Wearing your skin. Feeling the stares, the weakness. Empathy flickered in me. Unwanted, unwelcome. This body of his thrummed with vitality, a Tesla engine idling. But his soul? Fragile as spun sugar. Karma's just the appetizer, I said softly. Revenge is the feast. Afternoon brought the media sniff. A blogger from Atlanta magazine pinged his phone. Heard about the Hayesville drama. Sources say sisters fighting dirty.
Spill.
I drafted a denial, laced with barbs, family healing amid loss. Speculation hurts more than helps. But attached? A redacted scan of the roofie report, time-stamped for maximum sting. By evening, the house felt like a pressure cooker. He begged off the art crawl, claiming exhaustion, while I suited up for Derek's networking dinner at Chop's Lobster Bar, prime rib and power plays with developers eyeing Midtown infill. In the mirror, I adjusted his tie, practicing the smile that closed million-dollar deals. The man staring back? Not quite Derek, too sharp in the eyes, too hungry.
Good.
Chops hummed with Atlanta's elite, realtors and Tom Ford, bankers nursing Macallans, laughter like polished marble. I slid into the booth with Derek's crew, guys named Chad and Preston, all teeth and testosterone. Derek, buddy, where's the fire? Brooklyn's circling the drain without you. Personal shit, I drawled, channeling his frat boy nonchalance. Mom's passing. Will's a mess. They clucked sympathies, but eyes gleamed, vultures scenting blood. Over fillets, I probed. Ever dig into family skeletons? Mine's got more twists than a Forsyth County road. Preston chuckled, swirling Cabernet. Hell yeah. My old man hid a love child in Alpharetta. Blew up the divorce. Loose lips, as Mom used to say. By dessert, I'd gleaned gold. Derek's Brooklyn project? Shaky permits, bribes to inspectors, whispers of kickbacks from a Russian oligarch. Leverage gift-wrapped. Back home at midnight, buzzed on adrenaline more than booze, I found him, me, asleep on the couch, TV flickering infomercials for miracle blenders. The vial tempted from my pocket, cool against thigh. One sip and swap back. End the madness. But then what? Back to scraping by, watching him squander her legacy?
No.
Dawn brought decision. Dose half. Test the waters. But first, accelerate the fall. Morning calls to PIs, old contacts from my gallery days, folks who'd tracked fakes for collectors. Dig on Derek Hayes. Financials, indiscretions. Discreet. By noon, reports trickled. Offshore accounts in the Caymans, mistresses in Jersey with tastes for Birkins, a DUI expunged via mom's judge friend. The roofie? Witnesses from the frat party, silenced by hush money I'd trace. Confrontation hit at lunch. Paninis from the corner Publix, eaten on the sun porch amid mom's orchids. You're destroying me, he accused, my face gaunt. For what?
To feel big.
To feel even. I countered, Derek's voice steady. You took my choices, my safety, my future. Now I take yours. He lunged, my body surprisingly spry, grabbing the vial from my pocket. Then end it. Swap back, you psycho. Glass shattered on tile, liquid seeping like tears. Panic surged. What did you do? But as scent filled the air, jasmine and ozone, he convulsed, collapsing. I knelt, heart hammering. Was it over? Reversal?
No.
When he stirred, eyes fluttering open, it was still me staring back from my face.
The vial? A dud.
Or half measure. The mystic's voice echoed in memory. Payment first. Desperation clawed. I dragged him to bed, dialing 911 from his phone. Panic attack. Grief. I lied to dispatch. While sirens wailed, I rifled my purse, finding a burner phone. Text to the stranger. What now? Reply. Truth for truth. Expose the father. The father. Not dad. The hustler.
Momislav Derekes Biodad.
A name in the box. Victor Russo. Vanished after a port bust in '95. But leads. A dockside bar in Thunderbolt, Georgia. That night, as he slept off sedatives, I packed a go bag. Derek's Levi's, cash from mom's safe. Road trip south, to unearth the bastard who'd spawned this mess. Revenge wasn't just financial. It was biblical. Eye for eye, body for body. Highway hummed under tires, Savannah's spires looming like judgment. The bar, Saltwater Saloon, reeked of shrimp boils and stale regret. Fishermen hunched over PBRs, jukebox crooning Alan Jackson. Victor? Graying at a corner table, eyes like Derek's, but weathered by tequila. Looking for family? I slid in, voice low. He squinted. You Hayes boy? Eleanor mentioned. Mentioned. The word ignited. Overshots of fireball, truths spilled. The affair, the smuggling ring, artifacts from Caribbean wrecks, cursed relics peddled to Atlantic collectors. The swap? A favor from a Bawker in New Orleans, invoked by mom on her deathbed. She wanted balance, Victor rasped. You, the daughter, bore too much. So she called the debt. Balance. The vial's twin waited in his pocket. Full dose. Take it, he urged. But first, forgive the boy. He's me flawed, but yours. Forgive? Laughter barked out, Derek's timbre.
No.
I dragged the sins into light. Back in Atlanta by dawn, reports hit. Brooklyn deal collapsing, mistresses suing, AJC headlines screaming heiress alleges abuse in estate battle. Derek woke raging but weakened, my body frilier under stress. You're ruined, he spat. Not yet, I replied, vial in hand. One sip, and I'd reclaim harmony. But twisted. Dose him instead? Trap him eternal? The choice loomed, dark as the Chattahoochee at midnight. The vial burned in my palm like a live coal as I faced him across the kitchen island, the morning sun slanting through blinds to paint stripes on the Carrara marble, innocent patterns mocking the war-zone we'd made of mom's dream home. Derek and Harmony looked wrecked, hair matted, my favorite emerald sweater stretched over slumped shoulders, eyes red-rimmed from nightmares that echoed mine. The headlines blared from his laptop screen, propped open like an accusation. Buckhead inheritance war. Abuse claims rock Hayes family. Photos splashed, grainy frat party shots from 2 decades back. My 16-year-old face blurry but unmistakable, captioned victim or vixen. "You did this," he hissed, voice raw. "Leaked it all. My career, gone. Investors bailing. Preston called me a liability. Even Jamal texted. What the hell, Harm? True about your bro." I set the vial down deliberately, watching his gaze flick to it like a moth to flame. True? Damn right. And it's just starting, Derek. Victor confirmed. Mom orchestrated the swap. Her dying wish for justice. You in my skin, feeling the fragility you inflicted. Me, in yours, wielding the power you abused. Victor? He paled, gripping the counter. That ghost?
Momliet.
He wasn't. Your father? Oh, he was. Paternity papers don't lie. And the smuggling? Those cursed relics? One was a locket, voodoo charm from Haiti. Mom pawned it to pay her gambling debts, invoked the Bacher for payback when cancer hit. Lies woven with truths. Victor had spilled enough to arm me. But the locket? A prop from the box, engraved with our initials twisted into a Mobius strip. Endless cycle. He laughed, brittle as autumn leaves crunching under Marta tires. Payback? This is insanity.
Give me the vial. Swap back.
We split the estate, called truce.
Truce.
The word tasted like surrender, but revenge was a river, swift, churning, impossible to dam. Split? After you roofied me into silence? After you let me rot on probation while you yachted in the Keys?
No.
You confess. Publicly. The thefts, the accident, the affair Mom covered. Then maybe I dose us. His face crumpled, my features folding into defeat. For a heartbeat, pity stirred. This was blood, after all, twisted as it was. But then memory flashed. That night at 16, waking in the ER with bruises blooming like ink on wet paper, Mom's whisper. Tell them you fell, baby.
Protect the family. Protect.
The yoke I'd worn till it chafed raw. No, he whispered. I'd lose everything. You already have. I pocketed the vial, grabbing keys. Art crawl tonight. You're going as me. Smile for the cameras. I'll handle your emergency board call. The day fractured into dual lives. He shuffled to my loft, keys jingling like chains, while I hunkered in the home office. Derek's sanctuary of mahogany and monitors, fielding calls from sharks circling chum. Harlan, the lawyer, bleated about settlements. Drop the contest, Ms. Hayes, mister? The codicil's ironclad, but leaks are toxic. I strung him along, voice honeyed venom. Toxic? Try criminal. Check the tox reports I'm faxing. By dusk, the AJC escalated. Exclusive. Hayes air-linked to assault cover-up. Protests brewed online. Justice for Harmony trending on X. Feminists in Grant Park decrying toxic brothers. Derek's phone exploded. Exes blocking. Frat brothers ghosting. A voice from Soho. Dude, you're cancelled. Brooklyn's dead. Empathy?
Fled.
This was catharsis, American style. Social media guillotine, swift and public. The art crawl pulsed in Castleberry Hills warehouses, graffiti murals glowing under string lights, craft IPAs flowing like the crowd's ironic chatter. I arrived fashionably late to Derek's crisis, a Zoom with remnant investors, faces pixelated in suits. Gentlemen, I drawled, tie loosened. Transparency time. Personal demons, yes. But assets? Liquid. Let's pivot to ATL infill. Buckhead adjacent. They bought it, temporarily, hooked on the rebound narrative. But as screens winked out, a text from him. Here. Overwhelmed. Jamal's flirting. Help. I smirked, replying, play nice. Sell the grieving artist vibe. Across town, he navigated my world. Schmoozing gallerists over charcuterie, posing for selfies with my abstract of the eye, 20 underpass, chaos in cobalt and crimson. Jamal cornered him, tall and dreadlocked in a Henley, concern etching his brow. Harm, talk to me. Your texts.
Distant.
And Derek? That story. He froze, my voice pitching up.
It's
Complicated. Family's secrets. Jamal's hand on my arm. Gentle, grounding. For a stab of jealousy. Alien in this body. Love? I'd buried it under resentment, but seeing it through Derek's eyes?
raw.
Night deepened, rain resuming its tattoo on cobblestones. He stumbled home first, soaked and shaking, collapsing on the foyer rug. I can't. The stares, the pity. Jamal asked if I was safe. Safe. From you. From me. The mirror of his sins. I knelt, Derek's knees protesting, and pressed the vial into his palm. Then end it.
Drink.
Confess tomorrow. Press conference. Full mea culpa. Estate splits, we heal. Or refuse, and I expose Victor. Your real dad, the smuggler. Felony trafficking charges, retroactive. His fingers trembled, uncorking.
Heal.
After you torched my life. You torched mine first.
Pause.
But yeah, maybe. He drank, throat bobbing. Seconds stretched eternal. Then convulsed, body arching like a bowstring snapped. I braced, heart thundering. Was it working? Scales tipping? Light fractured. Reality warped. A vertigo whirl of flesh and fog. When it cleared, I gasped, my voice, high and whole, in my body, sprawled on cool tile. Across, Derek groaned, rubbing his jaw, blue eyes blinking in confusion. It was done. Swapped back. The air hummed with spent magic, jasmine faint. He sat up wincing. Harmony.
Fuck. I'm sorry.
All of it.
Sorry.
A word too small for the chasm. But as sirens wailed distant, cops? Reporters? I extended a hand, pulling him up. Presser at 10 a.m. Truth. Derek. All of it. Dawn brought reckoning. Flanked by Harlan in the conference room, mics bristling like porcupine quills, he stepped to the podium, hair slicked, suit crisp, but eyes haunted. Cameras flashed, reporters from 11 Alive and the Constitution baying questions. Today, he began, voice steady. I confess. The accidents, the thefts, they were mine. Harmony covered for me, out of love. Mom, too. It ends now. Details tumbled. The roofie as stupid prank, the funds as addiction spiral, Victor as ghost I'd rather bury. Tears streaked. Applause didn't. Gasps, murmurs. A feminist blogger live-tweeting redemption or reckoning. I stood aside, anonymous in black jeans and blouse, my sketches tucked under arm, testimony in oils. Jamal texted, proud. Dinner? Hope flickered, fragile.
But the twist?
As signatures flew on the amended will, 50-50 split, trust for mom's charities, Harlan pulled me aside. One more thing, Harmony. Your mother's final note, not in the box. For you alone. Hand it over. Envelope, sealed. Dearest girl, the swap was my gift, not curse. To feel his power, make him feel your pain. But the truth? Derek's leukemia? I caused it, radiation from a relic I handled, smuggling gone wrong. You took no fall. You saved me from guilt. Forgive or free? Love, Mom. Reversal. Not victim, but avenger by design. I'd borne no sins, Mom's projection, her penance. Derek? Innocent of that, at least. The crimes? Real, but rooted in her shadows. Rage deflated to sorrow. At the podium, he caught my eye, questioning. Forgive? The crowd debated online. Hero or hypocrite? Heir or heel? I stepped forward, mic in hand. And I forgive. For Mom. For us. Lies? Half. The estate funded therapy. Jamal's ring glinted by Christmas. Derek rebuilt in Savannah. Away, but amends emailed weekly. But the vial's echo lingered. Freedom? Or cycle unbroken? Atlanta rolled on. Humid, resilient. Secrets buried under red clay. I sketched it all. Fractured faces, swapped souls. Debatable ending? Damn right. Happy? In the American way, scarred but standing.